Here we go again. Another time for knowledge acquisition on health measures. This is a special request sort of because one of the subscribers asked that something on growing old, how to manage oneself before the crisis of old age. I titled this Laboratory Management of Health Before Old Age Crisis. I shall be taking you on a journey on some of these communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. Most of the problems that we experience at old age are mainly non-communicable diseases, but there are communicable diseases like COVID-19 that really ravage the whole world. Another pandemic that has happened in the past, but these are unusual events. But the usual one that we ourselves cause, probably by our lifestyle, by eating and all those things that are really accumulated along the years, because findings, there are so many researches that have proven that even most of these cancers we are having is closely associated with high protein diets. But all that, the laboratory investigation will help to monitor the range from normal, so that one can always maintain a kind of normal lifestyle that will encourage a very positive result at old age, where one will still stand the race for a number of time. We all know the various things we are supposed to do, but if we don't know, in order to maintain our health, the video that I'm presenting will expose you to areas that you don't know, that you need laboratory investigation to really clarify. And with that, you will be able to have more confidence, especially about how your old age would really be like. If there is no accident, one is bound to enjoy his old age, but you never can tell. Accident can come from anywhere, but that we do not really pray for. So if you like my videos, if you like my channel, just click the like button, subscribe, so that more of this stuff I can bring it to you. So now the details on laboratory management of health before old age crisis. We all surely will go old. The four major old age problems are listed there: physical problem or biological changes, physical decline and illness. Deteriorating health may stop one enjoying things he or she loves doing. That you all understand. The cognitive problem is when you have a mental decline. Aging people are associated with dementia. The commonest thing is you don't remember things easily, just like when you were very brilliant. Emotional problem, loss of independence. You now need people to take you around. At times, you want to do certain work that you can do alone, you call people, and this can be a great source of stress. There's social problems. Transition to retirement. Retirement is like a call for somebody to expire. It's like you have made yourself expired, and it is not the best. Common denominators to all health problems are listed there. Lifestyle, it is a very common denominator. When you look at the lifestyle, it defines almost everything that we usually have as our health problems. So when you talk of your lifestyle, it includes those things you do usually before probably retiring. When you go to work very early, probably you are waking up by 5. Then diet is another thing again. that has to do with health problems. Sedentary life. Yes, we more or less sit down all the while. We eat, drink, and we sit by the laptop, and that is creating health problem, because all that we eat will now settle in the various blood vessels, and you start experiencing problem. Hormonal changes, that's very common, well expressed in women. You see their usual flushes, especially when they have clocked the menopause age. And drug abuse because of pains. If you have been used to taking drugs, there is that tendency to overdose, and the drugs itself are poisons and they have side effects. Taking care of the following. What are we supposed to take care? Taking care of that physical aspect that I earlier explained are things we need to manage effectively. You want to stand straight, and most times if you bend too much, your body starts bending as well. The mental aspect, those things that you do to develop yourself, with books you are reading, and certain things you were doing before, there is a need to continue. The cognitive health too is very important, or else one becomes starts suffering from dementia and all associated age problems. We need to also sleep well. It's part of the recommendation. So now let's go into the laboratory management of the common denominators. We spoke about diet. Diet is very important. Food intake is a very important factor that kept one alive till old age. The common problem associated with food is that some people have developed the habit of live to eat, whereas it should be we eat to live. When you live to eat, you eat any kind of food. Every time when you are up, you are eating and eating. And what happens? You are clogging all the blood vessels, because all these things has to be supplied to every cell. You can imagine every cell receiving more than enough. What do they do with it? They start storing. When they don't have storage, so it becomes a clog. This habit caused so many derangement that I shall now list for us to regularly check as markers of ill health. Our diet should contain protein, carbohydrate, oil, and fats, minerals, and inorganic substances, vitamins. And when you have all these in excess, it is always a problem. Whether it's the protein that is too much, protein is now associated with cancers. Carbohydrate, when it's too much, it is stored as fat. When fat is too much, you now find stored in, or even in your the heart. So the liver, where the fats are usually stored, become a liver full of fatty liver. And when you have a fatty, it's not functioning well. It's like having some serious problem of liver. Then many of the laboratory tests performed are knowing the normal values or deviation from normal levels of substances formed from these items in our food. The things we eat are to form different substances, especially proteinous. When we eat protein, is to build the various substances, part of the body. Ordinarily, therefore, you can conclude that those who live to eat constitute those who will have serious health problem in old age, as a result of the occlusion caused by the excess intake. Because, like I said, the blood vessels are now occluded. You can talk of atherosclerosis, you can talk of lipids now blocking the flow. You can talk of even air embolisms. So many things, even myocardiac infarction as a result of this blocking. The tips on diet that we need to hold is fresh red meat such as beef, lamb, veal, and pork may also cause cancer. But the World Health Organization says this may in part be linked to the way such meats are typically cooked. Grilling, frying, broiling, and other high-temperature cooking methods can create cancer-promoting chemicals. Also, the World Health Organization has classified processed meats, including ham, bacon, salami, and frankfurts, as a group 1 carcinogen that is known to cause cancer. Eating well can help prevent many health problems as you age, such as heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and obesity. So you can imagine you must eat, and you eat well to prevent even this complication when you overdo it. So life is about moderation. Carbohydrate associated test, you talk of diabetes. The symptom include increased thirst, increased urination, feeling tired, and losing weight. And diabetes is as a result of the glucose not being assimilated by the cells, because when you eat carbohydrate mainly, it is turned to that is when you talk about metabolism, it's broken down to this glucose, the monosaccharide, and that is what is absorbed by the cell to do so many functions that produce so many energy and other enzymes and other things that the body would need. So the energy we really need from glucose is gotten from that carbohydrate breakdown. The pancreas is that organ that secretes enzymes, the amylase and lipase. Amylase helps the body break down starches, including all the carbohydrates. Lipase helps your body digest fat. The normal blood amylase value in a healthy person is 23 to 85 units per liters, and lipase 0 to 160. Pancreas also secretes the hormone that helps regulate the metabolism of sugar, that is insulin. So it is that insulin that in all sincerity, that when it is not enough, that you start asking, the patient becomes insulin dependent. That is the type 1. And when it is enough but the body is not, the cells are resistant to it, that's the type 2. And this machine you have here, the cobas machine, can perform all the biochemical and hormonal assay. So that's why it is very typical. Now, the kind of test you perform for diabetic to confirm diabetes is this: the A1C test. You find that if the person is diabetic, is 6.5% or above. The fasting blood sugar, that is when the person has to fast. Once the level is over 126, then there is a problem. 200 for glucose tolerance, there is also a problem. Random blood sugar, anytime you just want to test the person and it's 200, there is a problem. But those who are not yet diabetic, you do these other tests, that's what you find. For fasting, you have 100 showing that they are close to being diabetics, or the pre-diabetic level, and they don't apply for random. The normal level that you should find normally are these values that are the circle. For fasting, should be 99 milligram per deciliter or below. And for the glucose tolerance test, where you want to give the patient glucose and test whether the body can work on it within certain period, it should be averagely 140 milligram per deciliter or below. The oil and fat that we also eat, oil and fat associated tests, you can test for the lipid profile. When you do lipid profile, you are now checking for all the cholesterols and triglyceride, because that is usually how they are. The triglyceride, the serum cholesterol, what you find as the normal value is always less than 200, while the one for LDL is 130. But the high density is the one that is called good lipoprotein cholesterol, and that is the value that should be helpful. The triglycerides should be less than 150. If when the triglycerides are high, then you should watch it. The person can become diabetic even if it's not diabetic already. Protein associated tests, these are mainly enzyme, and the test is just to check the leakages in damaged organ, usually due to occlusion, like I said, blocking the pathways with fats and all this embolism and what have you. The troponin has to do with the heart, and the creatinine kinase, APO and lipase, and the homocysteine are just what you check for in the blood vessels, because when the blood vessels contains all these things, they are already causing serious blockage. There is a kind of problem going on, that the heart is already complaining, because the vessel is not passing all that is very necessary to the heart, so that the heart can function very well. The oxygen are not getting there, the nutrients are not getting there effectively. The liver function test too, you can see the transaminases also could be, there could also be a deficiency in the hemoglobin causing anemia. Inflammation, ESR and C-reactive protein are signs that you check for in old age, because they are always high, to show that yes, probably you may have serious arthritis, because those are showing reaction by the immune system. Autoimmune problems could arise from there. Kidney function test is also very important to check how effective your kidney is, so that when the kidney is very effective, you are in the best of health. But when your kidney is gradually being damaged, you need to do certain things to correct it. These are the equipment and code that you usually find in the lab, used to collect samples, to prepare, to separate the blood. If you want the serum or the plasma, that's what you do. Then there is also that check for hormonal substances, the trace elements, which you must have taken, the vitamins and co. So one of them is the electrolyte test, where you are checking for the sodium, potassium, chloride and stuff like that. You want a situation where there is that sodium pump. If sodium is too much in the cell, it has to be pumped out, or else it creates challenges. Calcium is another one that is also useful for the bone, and when it's too much, it's causes the one that is also very important, especially for dementia, is thyroid stimulating hormone T3 and T4, because when there is hypothyroidism for a long period, you are already sure of suffering from that dementia. So one needs to check this regularly, so that the values would not go on for long before correction. Vitamin B12 is also very important in memory. So these TSH, hyper and hypothyroidisms are important. Then the serum iron test will also help with monitoring the oxygen, because iron, when it's low, then the level of oxygenation, the area oxygenation is low too. The fecal occult test will help for colon cancers, because when there is bleeding internal, and drug test too. If there is an abuse of drug in excess, this is what this machine, it has higher grades of it that can test everything. Tests associated with physical state of the body, you can talk of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin estimation, if you do not have enough blood in your body, you get tired easily, and that's why you can also help to monitor your hemoglobin level. So the PAC cell too performs the same function, but it's very, very useful, so that one does not suffer from low blood concentration. Then you have the kidney function test. Women usually suffer this because of the short urethra they have. The infection is very common in women, so there is a need to always check, so that your kidney does not really become infected and packed up and the person dies. The heart test I have listed, the heart, once the heart is weak, or there is occlusion, or myocardiac infarction, or pericarditis, or what have you, the heart will always complain. You cannot even climb the stairs. You can hardly do anything. You start having palpitations. You start having those readings. So, but when you do all these tests, you check the values, very early enough, you can do certain correction. The lung test is also very important, especially for cigarette smokers, because of different problems, bronchitis, and even cancers of the lung, because these are indicated. Liver function test, like I said, especially for alcohol, those who take too much alcohol, they could suffer from liver cirrhosis. The liver detoxify is a very good organ for removing all the toxins of the body, but if it has been compromised, there is nothing it can do. Then all these derangement that I have mentioned in the past, the treatments, if it's infection, especially when it's bacterial infection, you need to treat them early, because if you don't treat them, you are already getting a situation where they will penetrate into the inner areas and cause complications. Most of those problems that are not treated are the ones causing this complication for elderly people. The kind of complications you now get, it's another topic for another day. The same thing with antimicrobial drug for all microbial infection. Lipolysis uses laser to break fat cells apart, reducing the volume of fatty tissues. That's very useful for people who are obese and very fat, that are now having the blood vessels blocked, not passing enough to the heart, and then surgery could be done for those organs that are probably like the spleen, splenomegaly, now causing continuous problem of health. So they could remove it, or even cancers. Cancer treatment is another indications. So supplements are also useful for us to take, and with that, I'm sure